What's up, it's Will here. I'm here for Early Insight UFC 246 McGregor versus Cerrone. This is something I did for 245 and it's something I'm going to do through 2020, which we're closing in on very, very quickly. And it's just basically my early look ahead to the pay-per-views and seeing if anything changes after kind of diving in deep and checking out the fights beforehand. So kind of going off gut feelings in this one here. Before any of that, I just want to say happy holidays to every single one of you. I hope you had a good time with your families. It's been a hectic time for me with work and so on, but really looking forward to getting back into it in the new year. There's some different things coming up. I've got some new things planned with the monthly reviews, looking through my bets, what went right, what went wrong, what went right and wrong with my picks, and just trying to get better. So one thing I always try and do is just try and do better. Last year, I think, towards the end of the year, I thought I kind of tailed off. I didn't do too great in the last probably 3 months of the year. And yeah, I want to try and get better, a bit more, try and find those spots. That's what I'm trying to look at. So I see you guys in the chat there, Buffo, my man, Jared, Rob. I think you say there something about UFC London. The plan is I'm still going to be there for that. So hoping we can get this Woodley-Leon fight done. Hopefully we can get Till on there against Hermansson. That'd be a good fight. And yeah, kind of looking forward to a few things. I'm looking forward to getting back into the fights. I mean, I'm really enjoying this break, obviously. And I'm coming into, I think it's year number 8, 7 or 8 on YouTube here. So it's a long slog. I think the one thing I do like now is looking at all of the new predictors that come in. Because when I came in, I think there was one other guy, there was Surfer Ken, he disappeared, he retired, stopped doing prediction videos. There was another dude who I forget who did them, I apologise, I think his name was Darren something. And there wasn't too many, and now when you look across YouTube, you see Brandon K, you've got MMA Prediction Guru, you've got Mr. Arkansas, you have got Justin from BroPix, you have got Bull Roar, you've got Mo Scream, you've got the guys that have the battle, you've got so many guys that are doing it, and there's probably guys I'm missing out, and I apologise. And it's nice to see more people, because I mean, you don't get too many people coming out here and just putting their picks out there and consistently doing it week after week, month after month, year after year. So, yeah, to the predictor guys, just keep on doing your thing. Let's try and see if we can get more people in here to grow it. And yeah, you're not going to get everything right. So, yeah. But this is the video I'm going to do, UFC 246. Then I'm going to have a video out for probably next week, looking to the future. And that's going to be, episode 1 is going to be on Saladin Parnasse, the KSW champion, who I think will make his way to the UFC in 2020. They're saying they're going to go to France at some point in 2020, so I want to talk about Saladin Parnasse because I've been watching his fights in KSW, but also going back and watching some of his fights. The guy is a talent. I think he's got a high level of expectation in the UFC when he comes there, but I'll leave that for the show next week. And also, Mr. Arkansas is doing the Predictor Wars. He's had some ideas regarding some of this, and we'll probably find out more in the next week and a bit. I don't see any harm with it. And guys will just need to try and get their picks right. If not, they'll be getting probably downtrodden a little bit by Mr. Arkansas or whatever. But it is what it is. I think it's a bit of fun. And I think if you put your picks out here, you should try and stick by them and try and make sure you get yourself good picks. But yeah. Okay, I'm going to start getting into this fight card. I've made no bets for this card. I've watched only a few bits and pieces for this fight card. Because like I say, it's downtime. It's time to spend with the family. And not looked into it too much. I've only looked into a couple of fights of Odie Osborne. I've looked at Aleska Kimura, and I've looked at Yusuf and Fili, and the other one is Carlos Diego Ferreira. I've looked into it a little bit against Anthony Pettis, but we might as well just start off down at the bottom. You've got Alexa Kimura against Justin Ledet, and I mean, Justin Ledet is just really kind of flattened to deceive this kind of last few fights. He's kind of got found out. He's really a guy only with kind of boxing skills and a jab. And if you're a well-rounded guy, per se like Rakic was, who can mix up with leg kicks, combination striking, and also get takedowns, you're in deep trouble. And then you've got Johnny Walker, who I think at any given moment is one of those guys that can knock you out if he doesn't get caught. So I think you can knock him out. He can obviously knock you out. And that's what happened in that one. That he got caught in the first 15, 20 seconds of that fight. Aleska, like I said, I watched a little bit on him. I think I think he's a, just from what I kind of see the little bit, so I'm going to dive into more of his fights. I think he's got a really good opportunity to beat Justin Ledet here. I think Ledet's on his way out. I think I think he's stagnated as a fighter. I was looking on social media and stuff to try and find out where he's been training and what he's been doing. And I think it's been very, very quiet, so he's not been putting much out there. And what I've seen more of coming around the last year that I think that he's got enough to win this fight. Now, betting line wise, I've not really looked at the betting lines all too much. Let me see, UFC 246, -145, +125 Ledet. I quite like Kema, honestly. I think that we'll see where that line is. I mean, it's 3 weeks till fight time. The lines might kind of go one way or the other, but I think people are kind of focusing on Bellator and Risen this week. So maybe as we get into the new year, it'll probably start to turn around a little bit. But I like Aleska, just looking in the little bits that I've seen so far. And I think that, like I say, Ledet's probably gonna see him in Bellator or PFL come the new year, in the middle part of the year. Brian Kelleher against Odie Osborne. I like this Osborne kid. He kind of reminds me of, and it's maybe not a good comparison, but the way Conor McGregor is, he sits back a little bit, he snipes his shots. I quite like that. A little bit open for leg kicks, body kicks, which you see in a couple of these kind of regional fights. On the Dana White Contender Series, I thought he looked really, really good. And Brian Kelleher's really going to be aggressive in this one because he has to be, or he's going to probably get his walking papers. I think he's on a couple of fight losing streak. I know the Lineker one, yeah, and Montel Jackson. So he's been stopped twice, 2-fight losing streak. The way that they're kind of letting guys go, that they're not really keeping them around after with 3 losses. But he's got a guy coming in Osborne. Like I said, I like the way he fights. I like his fighting style. Kind of sits back. I think he's a southpaw, if I remember right. Snipes that shot out, like kind of like McGregor, but not as kind of venomous as what McGregor is. When he throws shots, he's got intent to knock you out. I don't think that Osborne's got the kind of one-shot stop power that what Conor has. And I've seen him getting down at the ground. I think I've seen him win by an arm bar as well. A triangle, I should say. And I like what I see. And he is, I know the line changed in this recently, but the UK, so he's -120 in the States. I know in the UK he's +100. And honestly, that's a guy I could potentially be looking at betting, because Kelleher, to me, looks like he's, I just think that his time's kind of past him. I mean, this is a step-down opponent from, obviously, a Lineker, and Montel Jackson, I believe, is a really good fighter. I think he's going to be a good fighter for many years to come in the UFC. I just like this Osborne style. I think he can snipe from the outside. I think he can counter probably very, very well against someone like Kelleher, who's coming forward, very kind of meat and potatoes, combination striking. I think Osborne can maybe pick him apart a little bit, but I can also see this fight maybe being a little bit closer. So I'm kind of looking forward to kind of maybe digging in a little bit more in this one. I'll probably be doing that. I've got a little bit of time off over New Year, so I'll look into that. Flyweight division. This is a great fight. This is a good fight for DraftKings, I think. There's a couple of good fights for DraftKings on here. You've got Tim Elliott against Askar Askarov. Not seen a hell of a lot of Tim Elliott. I know the last time, I remember speaking to him in Liverpool, and he was telling me before that he was going in for surgery. I think it was on both knees. And then came back and wasn't in the fight all too long against Figueiredo, where he got caught and he got submitted with a guillotine choke. And like Elliott's a guy I've always liked watching fight, for the simple reason I don't think he's overly skilled in like one area, but he's very squirrely, very tough, very hard nosed, and really hard to really look good against. So that's why I think that win that Figueiredo's got, the stoppage early. I mean, he gave, I don't want to say he gave Demetrius problems, but in the first round especially, he probably won that first round against Demetrius. But when he turns up, he can be kind of a little bit, quite a bit to handle. And obviously very kind of dangerous and like scrambling scrambling situations on the ground. He can always catch you in submissions and so on. He had that fight with inside of Gina. That's true. That's true. They two were all over each other in Liverpool, Gina Mazzani and Timmy Elliott. Fair play to him. Fair play to him. Gina's not a bad looker when you actually meet her. She's not a bad looking girl. But yeah, I mean, he absorbs a lot of strikes. You can take this guy down. He's kind of got a 50-50 kind of takedown defense. Askarov is predominantly a guy I think is more physical than what Elliott is, and he will be a guy who's looking for takedowns. I thought he lost that fight against Brandon Moreno, even though it was fairly close. I think in the States it would have been a very kind of close split decision either side. So it was a split decision in that one there when it was a draw. He got the takedowns, he advanced a few times, and I think Tim Elliott's going to give up these takedowns here. I think that it's going to be one of these fights that could be a scramble fest where maybe Tim Elliott finds the back or does something. He could potentially submit him, but I think Askarov's very, very good down there. I think he's the better guy down there. I think on the feet, I think they're both, I don't think they're all that good. So I think that will be kind of a close run thing personally. We'll see how that goes. But as of right now, I think I like Askarov. I think is it like minus 105? Did I see that, dude? Minus 115. It's minus 105 in Elliott. I mean, that's not bad odds either. But I'm kind of a little bit hesitant to bet this far out. Apart from Osborne, who obviously there's line value over here in the UK to America. You've got McDog odds still. So yeah, that's something I'm looking at, and we'll see how that goes. But kind of as of right now, Askarov is probably going to be my pick for that one, but we'll wait and see. Mazo against Aldridge is a really interesting fight because I want to favour Aldridge, but I think Mazo's going to be one of these girls that's going to start making decent decent jumps in her game a little bit. I'm not saying she's going to be an absolute world beater, but I think that she's a very, very young girl. She's in a very, very good camp. I think it's at King's MMA, where she's going to, I think she will get better there. How old is she? Let me see. 22, coming 23. I mean, she's a young girl. Reach advantage, kind of mixed up her striking, where you've got JJ, who's a southpaw. Kind of very hard-nosed, but I think you can break her. I think you saw that in the Macy Barber fight, where she started off really well, and then instantly kind of started to fade a little bit. And once she got cracked with that one shot, she didn't really know what to do. And that's a hard thing in women's MMA. If you've got someone that hits hard and hits precise, then it can be quite kind of hard to deal with. But Mazo lands a lot of strikes. She lands more than what JJ does. She absorbs a little bit more as well, does JJ. And I think that maybe like someone like Sabine Mazo could maybe keep her back with kicks, maybe potentially clinch up with her. Maybe Aldrich will try to look for takedowns. So kind of as of right now, I think I'm leaning Mazo. But it would be hard to be super, super comfortable and kind of really comfortable on either side here. One of the things I want to try and get better is the women's MMA, because sometimes I got burnt by that. I got burnt by like Mackenzie Dare, and I don't know why I felt so confident in her against Rebus. When I was super impressed with what I saw from Rebus the fight before. So it's maybe just the fan in me being a Mackenzie Dern fan. I've always just liked the kind of way she fights. I think she's very aggressive. She's got power. Obviously, she's got very good, decent jiu-jitsu skills. But Rebus absolutely tore her up in that fight. And that was one that kind of sticks in my mind as being a bad pick for 2019. But the odds on that, minus 105 Mazo. Blinded by the thickness. Yeah, I need to stay off Instagram. Her Instagram a little bit too much maybe. And J. George is minus 115. So yeah, kind of as of right now, probably leaning Mazo, but not a super confident real pick in that. Chaz Skelly against Grant Dawson. This is a really interesting fight to me because I think I was going on about Askarov and Elliott maybe being DraftKings goal. This could be exactly the same. I think Dawson is relentless in these takedowns. Really strong. I think he's got the physical advantage. But the thing is with Grant Dawson, he's not one of these guys really that when he takes you down, he keeps you there. I think you can get back to your feet. And I think someone like Skelly being a veteran, possibly has the opportunity to get back to his feet. And he's obviously got wrestling skills himself. Dawson gets hit a lot. I think Skelly's probably actually got the advantage on the feet. I think the physicality is obviously on Grant Dawson's side. I'm not... The Skelly kind of gas tank scares me a little bit. Dawson goes and goes. I think he does have a decent gas tank, but I think there's opportunities for him to gas out as well. I'm seeing a lot of confidence in Grant Dawson. I think Chaz Skelly is live in this fight initially, but like I say, I haven't watched all too much or little bits and pieces. I just think that, I mean, Skelly, he's getting injuries, he's getting older, he's coming into his mid-30s, and that division at 145 is, you really got the kind of young bombers coming through. You've got Yair, you've got Zabit. I'm probably missing out loads of other guys, but it's a like Chan Sung Jung's like only 31, so, and he's been around for the longest time. I don't think Scaly, and like I said, Grant Dawson to me is a little bit of a buzz. So I've been tweeting about that guy for many years, saying he's going to win a lot of fights in the UFC and he's going to be a problem for some guys in the UFC. But this is an interesting matchup to me. This one here, I think Skelly's live as an underdog, but I can also see maybe this kind of fight going the way like Grant Dawson, maybe just like outworks him to death and just gasses the life out of Skelly and wins over decision. So the odds on that, plus 165 in Skelly, I think that's going to go up. I think Dawson's going to be a popular bet by fight week, but minus 190, is it going to go up? I don't know. I can probably see some more money coming in Dawson, maybe him finishing in the minus 200 or maybe 175 to 200 range. So kind of as of right now, I like Chaz Skelly, but it's a fight I'm looking forward to really getting into. Cowboy was tons of money to throw the fight. I'm not one for that fight, especially someone like Cowboy. Like, that guy's a UFC Hall of Famer. Why would he throw a fight for money? It doesn't make no sense to me. I've seen some people say stuff about that. Cowboy's a legend, and like the guy's made himself enough money where I don't think he has to be in that position to like instantly put an L on his record. I don't think he's that type of guy. It just, nah. I don't really believe in that. Drew Dober against Haqparast. I've got Haqparast in that. I think he's too slick for Drew Dober, and Drew Dober's tough. Very, very tough. But I like Haqparast. I think he is going to have a big 2020. Fighting out a TriStar, 24 years old, just looked completely fantastic in the last 18 months in the UFC. The Diakiese fight is one that always sticks in my head. Thought it was a great performance there. Beat Guti up bad, should have probably got that finished. And then he did knock out Joaquim Silva with a vicious knockout, vicious counter straight down the pipe, straight on the nose, and that was that. That's a really nice win there. And like I say, Dober's a tough guy. I think he's got the opportunity to knock him out, but I think this could potentially go the distance. So I've got Haqparast as of right now. Fili against Yusuf. Whew, what a great fight that is, by the way. Great fight. And I'm seeing, if you guys have been watching me, you know I love Sadiq Yusuf. This is a tough fight, because when Fili turns up, he can beat a lot of good guys in this division. And Yusuf, he's had his spots in the UFC where he's been hit with decent strikes. He's had tough opponents though. He's had outside of Mokhtarian, who's absolutely dog doo-doo. Like, he's the worst fighter. I hate the Mokhtarian brothers. I don't hate fighters. I don't hate Mokhtarian. I very much dislike watching any Mokhtarian brother fight in the UFC. I hate it. I really do. I'm not a fan. So hopefully both those guys get the marching orders. Know that I like to see guys lose their jobs, but yeah, they guys are fighting people in Australia that are selling your popcorn, taking out your trash, and then somehow making it to the UFC. It's crazy. Shayman Moraes, great win. Gabriel Benitez, great win. Now he's got that jump up to Andre Fili, who I'm a big fan of. Fili, have been for a long time. He's been in the UFC a very long time and fought a lot of tough dudes as well. And he's coming off knocking out Shayman Moraes, beating Miles Jury. So he's had himself a really nice 2019 after that. Pretty close split that he lost to MJ. But he's just very, very good in a lot of areas, and he's hard to look good. You don't really blast this guy out unless you catch him with a shot like Yair did. But he has how many losses he had in UFC? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses. Holloway, nah. Pepe, he got caught there. Yair Rodriguez, obviously, that was the fight. That fight always sticks in my head, the Yair one, because I can still remember the sound of Yair's like foot just hitting the chin of Fili. I was at the MGM Grand for that, and the sound was amazing. Not amazing for Fili, obviously, but like there was a lot of Mexicans in the crowd. Saw him after the fight, and just thanked him for like that knockout, because it still sits in there. Lost to Calvin Kattar. That was one where I was super confident in Fili, not knowing what Calvin Kattar really was, because he did not impress me in the regionals, and then came out there and absolutely blew him out the water with a beautiful, beautiful striking. But when you look at the kind of the go-betweens between them here, you've got Fili. What am I looking at? Sorry. There we go. So you've got a 3-inch reach advantage for Fili as well. He's the more experienced guy in the UFC. Yusuf's the guy everybody's behind. Like I say, if you want to take a shot on Andre Fili, honestly, I'm not against it. Like I say, I'm going to look into that more. But plus 130, Fili comes through in those spots. I think he did it. Let me see what fight it was. Because I bet was it Bermudez I bet him as a dog? Yeah, it was. I think I bet him like plus 125. And he was as high as plus 150. He's just a dog. If you don't take this guy out, I mean, if you don't take him out, he's a tough guy to beat at all, I think. I just think he's a really solid fighter. If you got that plus 170 in Fili, that's not a bad line. Plus 115, plus 125 now, plus 130. Not bad, like I say, but Yusuf's a bomber. Yusuf can hurt you at any time and take you out, so you have to be super, super careful against kind of betting against someone like Sadiq Yusuf. But this, in my opinion, is a completely different jump up in level of caliber of opposition at 145. So I'm probably leaning Yusuf close, but I don't think I can bet against Fili. I think he's a tough guy, and he could take all of the kind of plaudits away from Yusuf in that one. But tough fight. Where are we? Sorry. Roxanne Modafferi against Macy Barber. You have to lean with Barber, because she's got that, once she kind of hits you with something decent, she swarms you. And she's one of those girls that's got power in her hands, and she gets, like, girls don't take too many shots when she starts throwing those hands heavy. But Modafferi this might be one of these fights here that Modafferi, it would not surprise me, I'll say it now, it wouldn't surprise me if she makes this really dirty, really boring, clinches up, somehow gets tripped takedowns. But when I think to myself, like, Barber's faster, hits harder, I think she's stronger. I think if she was to get taken down, she'd be able to pop herself back up. I don't think Roxanne would be able to really keep her there. But the quirkiness of Roxanne, I think, might play into the hands of Macy, where she gets hit with, sometimes when you watch her, she backs out with her chin there and her hands are down there, so she could easily get hit at the end of a punch and get absolutely her block knocked off her pretty much. So I would play Barber, but what was that odds? Minus 900? Minus 950. Whoo! No danger. I would probably take her by knockout. See what that pays out. I don't know. Actually, let's see what it says. It's not got that yet, no. Fight goes to decision. Plus 145. Minus 185. Yeah, I've got Barber, but it wouldn't surprise me if I'm sat here in 3 weeks' time thinking, I kind of thought that Roxanne might make this a little bit closer than she should be, but yeah, the pick's going to be Macy Barber. She should really make that next jump up and beat Roxanne Modafferi. Where are we? Main card time. I think this is wrong, because the co-main event is Pettis and Ferreira, but I'll go from what I see there. So it's Gadelha against Grasso. I think, if if I could trust Grasso to not get taken down, then I think she could absolutely light up Claudia Gadelha here and beat her ass up badly. But I think Claudia will be going for takedowns. I like Grasso initially. I like Grasso. I like the camp that they come out of. I think there's a lot of her and Aldana. I know they're kind of the main girls at a Lobo gym. But Gadelha, to me, I think Buffalo's in the chat here with me saying she's shot. I think she's well on her way to being that. I think the Jacek fights absolutely took a toll on her. There was a lot of kind of back and forth with them two for many years, and she lost those fights, very, very kind of close fights initially, and then she got absolutely destroyed by Andrade. She got beat by Ansarov. So to me here, she must be the betting favourite, Gadelha. Let me check. Minus 115, minus 105. I thought you might have got dog odds on Grasso. If you got like dog odds against Grasso, I don't think it's a bad bet. I'm probably going to pick Alexa Grasso in that fight, but I got burned last time against Esparza, so I'm a little bit unsure about that one. Because Gadelha's game plan is she has to get it to the ground, because if she doesn't, I think she's going to get picked apart by the faster combination striking of Grasso. So that's right now. I've got Grasso to kind of slightly come through in that one. And Gadelha, I think she's been injured quite a bit. She's had to pull out a couple of fights due to injuries as well. Was one not with Cavillo? Yeah, Cavillo as well. So, yeah. Alexei Olenek against Maurice Green. I've really not got a good read on that fight. What's up, Alex? I'd probably go Maurice Green initially. I would like to see actually Olenek win. I'm not the biggest fan of Maurice Green. I've seen some people on Twitter kind of big him up a little bit, and I'm like, that dude's not that good. Dude's not that good. But he's definitely made improvements in saying that. Olenek, he's kind of that one-shot guy. Awkward with his striking. He'll get outboxed for days against someone like against Maurice Green. But if this hits the ground one time, I think that Olenek will do what Olenek does. It doesn't even have to hit the ground. If he clinches up, he could get him in a standing triangle or guillotine choke, whatever. The guy throws up the most ridiculous stuff that he could catch you with. So I think the pick would be Maurice Green. But yeah, wouldn't surprise me if Olenek pulled something out there. Holly Holm against Raquel Pennington. I think I've got Raquel Pennington in that one. No, not Raquel Pennington, sorry. Holly Holm. I think, what was the initial thoughts on this? Yeah, I think that Pennington's going to make this a lot closer than what the first fight is. But I see Holly Holm, that was it, yeah. I think Holly Holm is going to kind of just run around for 3 rounds and kind of win this, kind of like the first fight that they had. When was that fight actually? Was that 184? Because I always remember that card because my video did really well. UFC 184, 2015. I thought it was longer than that actually. Yeah, Raquel Pennington, she beat her via split decision. I can see that fight being really, really kind of close again. It's hard to trust Raquel Pennington after that Nunes fight where she wanted to quit on herself. And obviously her coaches should have really pulled her out of that fight because she didn't want to be in that fight. She didn't want to take any more damage. So it's hard to, maybe I shouldn't say quit on herself. She knew she wasn't winning that fight. She didn't want to take any more punishment against the GOAT and Amanda Nunes. But I'm not really super confident in Holly Holm to bet her, I should say. Let's see what her price is. Minus 135. She'll get some love. I'd rather bet that than the plus 115, honestly, on Pennington. So I've got Holly Holm. Co-main event, Anthony Pettis against Carlos Diego Ferreira. I'll tell you what my initial thoughts was. I thought this is not a bad fight for Pettis. And then when you go back and watch his fights, it's like the guy just cannot take any pressure whatsoever. And when you look at that fight with Wonderboy, I mean, he was getting his ass beat bad, and they were saying that was the game plan to eventually kind of catch him with stuff like that. I mean, the guy still fights the best guys, and he gives them problems. But once that pressure starts to turn up, he breaks. And I hate saying that because I'm a Pettis fan. You guys know I'm a big, big Pettis fan. But he can break in fights. We've seen it many times. We've seen it in the Holloway fight. We've seen it in the Poirier fight. We've seen it in the Ferguson fight. Now, that's guys that have had belts around their waist as well, by the way. the Diaz fight, he just got out-volumed against a guy who's had a 3-year layoff. So I thought he could chop down Nate Diaz. He just doesn't throw his kicks. But initially, my thoughts in this matchup was on the feet that he's definitely got the striking prowess to really keep Carlos Diego Ferreira back. But Ferreira can take a shot, and he's landing. He's throwing a lot of volume himself. I mean, that win over Tysonov was spectacular. It was a great win for Diego Ferreira, and he pressures really, really heavy, and he's dangerous in every facet. It's the same with what's his name, Pettis. He's very dangerous. I mean, he can submit. I think he's one of those guys that can submit anybody. I think his jiu-jitsu's top class. I think his striking's obviously top class. If he gets off first, he can land some big strikes. He can really keep you back. He can stunt your kind of growth in the fight. Diego Ferreira's got a reach advantage here. Pettis lands more strikes. Pettis doesn't land more strikes. Ferreira lands more strikes, but he absorbs less as well. So that's interesting to me, and but not super accurate. But yeah, Pettis, in my opinion, I don't think Pettis is going to be in the UFC by the summer. I think Pettis is going to be fighting for this time next year. I think he'll be fighting in Bellator alongside Sergio Pettis. I think he's got 2 fights left on his contract from what I'm hearing. The UFC, I think they could keep him around. He's got a little bit of a name value to throw on some cards, and I mean the guy will take a fight with anybody as well. So I always thought Pettis against McGregor would be a great fight. It's a fight I've always wanted to see. 2 guys I'm big fans of, but like I say, I went into that before watching any fights in this, and thinking I like Pettis, but it's hard because he does fade and he does break in fights. Booth was saying, I do think overall as a striker he's far better than what Ferreira is, but Ferreira's not scared to get in there and throw down and get dirty either, and he's not scared about going to the ground because he'll think he has an advantage. But Pettis, it's hard. That's a tough fight for me. That's going to be one. See, if I don't bet this fight, like I've told a few people that I've been interested in Pettis. That was a couple of days ago, and then I watched some fights yesterday, and it's just hard to pick him with the pressure that people put on him. But we're talking Holloway, Poirier, Diaz, Ferguson. I mean, he had spots in that Ferguson fight where he had him hurt, and he can do that with a lot of guys. I mean, what's the odds? Plus 200 on Pettis. That's going to go up. I think that's only going to go up. I think that's going to be love for Diego Ferreira. I'm going to look into that more and see where I go. If I pick Pettis, it's not going to be with supreme confidence. But at plus 200, I wouldn't mind taking a stab at those odds. But it wouldn't surprise me if we get in the middle of round 2 and he's looking for a way out. Not saying that he's is he a quitter? I don't know, possibly. He has looked like he's wanted to a few times. But he is against the elite, and Ferreira's on his way to making himself into that, establishing himself in the top 10, and Pettis is the next kind of big jump up from a Tysonov to get himself a bigger fight with maybe not a Poirier, kind of in that region, in a Poirier, kind of, maybe a Gaethje, something like that, because Gaethje needs a fight. But yeah, main event, Conor McGregor, Donald Cerrone. I like Conor, but people are writing Cowboy off far too easy, in my opinion. I don't understand why people would instantly write off Cowboy. I know it kind of seems like a favourable matchup for Conor because he's precision, with Cowboy being a little bit of a slow starter. His chin's definitely deteriorating. He's getting knocked out kind of more frequently now. I think that McGregor could knock him out with body strikes, obviously with combination striking, but McGregor's been, I mean, I don't think he looked bad against Khabib in the grand scheme of things. But he did get his ass beat by Khabib Nurmagomedov. But yeah, and he's wanting that fight back with Khabib. I don't understand that, because Khabib, I feel would just get at him again, he would beat him up pretty swiftly again. Probably get a finish a bit earlier in that fight. But when you look at, it's the mystique gone in McGregor. That's the thing I've been thinking about. I'm like, we know his fighting skills. We know when he turns up like he did against Alvarez. If he was to show up, if he shows up like he did against Alvarez against Cerrone, I think he blows Cerrone out of the water. Or he has the potential to do that. Because I thought that's one of his most complete performances we've ever seen in the UFC. That fight was just pretty much as perfect goes for a fighter, in my opinion. And then obviously there was a lot of animosity again in the Khabib fight. There's still a lot of animosity between those guys, camps, countries, per se, with some of the stuff that he said. But I don't like the fact that people are writing off Cerrone so easily, because this is the guy that's got numerous finishes, numerous ways to finish fights, but you can see that he can be taken out relatively quickly. The Masvidal fight is one that I went back and watched because the combinations of Masvidal are what really put him down at the end of that first one, and then the second round I don't even think he was in it. I mean, his last 4 wins: Medeiros, Perry, Hernandez, Iaquinta. His last 3 losses: Leon Edwards, Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje. I mean, they're not bad losses, but 3 of his last 4 are by knockout. He's got knocked out. He's got that Muay Thai style where he can maybe flick a kick up and maybe catch McGregor. I think McGregor's going to be too light in his feet. I think he's going to be in and out with strikes to the body. If the Cerrone that comes into this fight slow starting, and if he starts slow, then I think he's in trouble. But McGregor's been off a little bit. It's going to be interesting. The whole 170 thing's a little bit weird to me. I can see why they're doing it. I mean, why cut weight if both guys want to go to 170? And like the whole weight cutting thing, I don't like weight cutting at all, but it is what it is. Like, and then Dana's current says that he could fight Khabib again, and that's to me a slap in the face to people like Gaethje, who's been in there and he's beat the baddest dudes, where McGregor's coming off a loss, could win this one, and if they give him that title fight straight off the bat, Khabib's saying that he's not going to get that title fight, but if they do, I mean, money talks, and I know that Khabib's not, I don't think he's in for the money. But if they make that fight, I think that's a slap in the face, honestly. I know that they've got to do business. I can see from a business sense why they want to make that fight with the bad blood with it. But to me, it doesn't do anything for me, a rematch. I still think there's fights in there that the UFC should make. I still think you should make a Gaethje fight. I still think that him against Ferguson would be bananas. Like I said, him against Pett is a fight I would love to see. I mean, this is a fight that was made a couple of years ago with available kind of back and forward comments. I just think Cowboy is on the downside of his career now. This is the fight here that he's the kind of money fight now. I don't think he's making the super high money that he would have if he was on, say, like a winning streak or whatever. This fight's been made for Conor to come back and should get a win. I'm just seeing people like, I've seen people say this guy should be minus 500. Like, double his odds now. So his odds are what, minus 230? Minus 290. Alright, okay, so that's when I pull up it. And people are saying like he should be minus 500 in this spot, and I'm like, no. Like, I know that Cowboy, like, he struggles against top 5 guys, but in this climate, is Conor McGregor a top 5 lightweight? I think you probably have to say yeah. I think I would have to say yes, but just. I think you've obviously got the top 3. You've got Gaethje, you've got Ferguson, you've got Khabib. That's undisputed. Whatever order you want to put them in, like Khabib, Ferguson, Gaethje for me. But you probably put McGregor maybe number 5. Cowboy, top 10. Yeah, I'm really interested to see if this whole mystique... I'm interested to see what the pay-per-view numbers are going to do. because this is a one-fight card, really. If something was to happen to this fight, it's not being backed up by too much. That's why I think they stacked 245 pretty highly, because they knew that McGregor would kind of sell this fight kind of off his name value pretty much, and Cerrone as well. Not disrespecting Cerrone. But yeah, I'm wondering about the Mystique, because I want to see Conor back. I'm a Conor McGregor fan. People go at me all the time for being a Conor McGregor fan. I've got a Conor McGregor painting on my wall in my bedroom. Someone over Christmas there bought me a Conor McGregor hoodie. So it is a Reebok one, which is interesting, because I'm not really the biggest fans, but someone bought it as a gift. So I'm not going to not accept a gift like that. So, but yeah, it's interesting, because I think McGregor, he's got the tools to put Cowboy away inside 7 minutes. And I think if it was over a long game, I think Cowboy would be able to come into it. But yeah, I think I've got Conor McGregor via knockout, and inside those first 2 rounds, I think Cowboy can break, and I think McGregor can be a little bit too fast for him. But like I said, there's no way I'm writing off Cowboy Cerrone. I don't know how you could counter a guy like that. I really don't, because the guy's an absolute warrior. But I do think he's at the tail end of his career. I think he's taking the punishment is starting to really kind of catch up with him a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm going right now. There's some spots that Grasso one's interesting to me. The Feely one's interesting to me, because I think that, I mean, Yusuf could come out and knock him out very, very quickly. I think that's going to be a close fight over 15 minutes. Askarov, Elliott, I quite like. So there's definitely value here, but we are 3 weeks out, and that's going to change a little bit. The one, if I was to pick one fight that I might bet on already across this card, it's maybe Osborne, and it's maybe something I'm going to have to look at very, very soon, the next 24 hours, because if I'm going to bet him, I want underdog odds against Kelleher. I wouldn't like him at like the minus 120 is in America at the minute. So plus 100, I've got at least dog odds on him. So yeah, you guys got any questions, any thoughts on the fight card? Any fights in particular that you really, really like, or a spot you really, really like? Yeah. But it's a good, I think it's a good card. It's this, like, to me, without McGregor and Cerrone up top, this would be I think it would be a very, very solid fight night card. I think there's good fights throughout it. Skelly Dawson, Haqparast Dober, Home Pennington, Yusuf Feely. It's not a bad card to start off the year, I must admit. And then where are we off to after UFC 246? Raleigh, North Carolina. Blades against Dos Santos, which, that looks a good card as well. Arnold Allen, Josh Emmett, good fight. Brett Jones is back. Montel Jackson. Nate Ledward making his UFC debut. Alex Perez. It's not a bad card. Not a bad card at all. Not a bad start to 2019. So that's my kind of early insight and initial thoughts on UFC 246. If nobody's got any questions, I'm going to go to bed, because it's now coming up to 2:30 AM. I'm probably back up in about 6 hours' time with my daughter. But yeah, I appreciate everybody for sticking around. If you're in the chat there, Buffalo, my main man, thanks for all the support, bro. Enjoy your new year. I'm not really a new year person myself, but I'm off for a couple of days, which is really, really nice. So I'm looking forward to that. Until next time, guys, comment, subscribe. If you've got any bets you've laid down already, if there's any confident picks you've laid down already, and the one thing I'll say is, well, like, if I think this Predictor Wars, but Mr. Arkansas is doing, is really, really interesting. So whether you give him shit any other times or whatever it may be, I still think it's interesting to see how everybody's picks are going to be kind of throughout the year. So kind of keep in tune with that, and go over and to Mr. Arkansas's channel, say that you might be looking forward to the Predictor Wars. If you think it's silly, let them know about it. I think it's decent. I don't think it's all bad. So until next time, guys, all the very, very best, and I'll see you next week for our early look into the future with Saladin Parnasse, and then the official predictions will probably be in 2 weeks' time for UFC 246. So until then, guys, enjoy your new year. I appreciate you for sticking around.